Hello, everybody. Welcome to a little special episode. Hopefully, the start of a new series. This is a little bit showcase, a little bit tutorial for the Xisuminati mod pack, letting you know what's available, how to use it, and which stuff is best. Now, of course, when it comes to best, that is just opinion. But hey, it's all fun and games. Now, here I have a whole bunch of stuff set up, and today we're dealing with electricity, or as it has become known, redstone flux. Now, there used to be, or there still is in some ways, a couple of other things. You know, there's... Well, I can't even remember the name of them right now. Well, there was or is still a couple of other names for powers or for electricity units, but usually RF, redstone flux. So, sitting in front of you in this rainbow and cacophony of textures and craziness colors is extra utilities power generators. They come in a variety of flavors and sizes. So there's 10 different generators. No, 12. 12. Learn to count. 12 different generators. And each generator comes in a regular form, an 8 times form, and a 64 times form. Now, the actual amount of power generated is 8 and 64 times of a single one, because it requires 8 of these guys to craft one of those, and 8 of those guys to craft one of those. So technically then 64 to craft one of that. It's just a matter of compressing it down into one block. It's a space saver. It will consume the same amount of fuel and generate the same amount of power as 64 of these things. Now, it'll do it faster, and it will produce more power really fast. So if you don't need Big Bang, then stick with a smaller generator, because it will consume your fuel slower. Now, this one that we've been looking at is the TNT generator. This guy, he loves himself some explosives. He'll gnaw away at your TNT and produce power. So if we go and just grab him, or grab him a nummy piece of TNT. Yeah. He's fun. Oh. It's gonna keep blowing up. Look at that. It doesn't actually harm blocks, but it can harm you. So keep that in mind. It will burn for, looks like about 5 minutes, producing 80 power. And look at that. We're already doing great. Let's actually turn that down, just because that's a little annoying. If I were to feed it to this guy, you feed one piece. Oh. See? Look at that. He ate one piece of TNT, and he's already done. This guy, still burning. So if you need low power for longer time, use the smaller generators. This guy right here, you know what? Stop that. This guy right here is the culinary generator. He likes food. Pretty sure you can even give it something like wheat. Nope. Okay, not wheat. I was wrong. Maybe anything in the food category, and that's it. You can give it cookies, I believe. Can you give it cookies? Yes. See, a cookie. And it just produces power. Give it a steak. Whoopsies. Give this guy a steak. Om nom nom. See, 256 pounds. So, if you got plenty of food, you might want to consider a culinary generator. Now, the ender generator, he's only got one type of fuel. And I can never remember where they are. There they are. Ender pearls. Whoop. There we go. He wants himself an ender pearl. Fun guy. The furnace generator, pretty straightforward. This guy wants coal, charcoal, coal blocks, power. Heated redstone. This one's a little bit tricky. This one is lava and redstone, I believe. Yes. And it will produce power from that. But it runs for quite a bit of time, and it looks like it consumes 125 millibuckets of lava, I should say, and a single piece of redstone to produce 25,000 RF. That's pretty good. This 20,000 RF from a single ender pearl. If it's easier... No, sorry, that was the furnace generator. This is the ender pearl, 30,000. Single piece of coal, that's what it was. So if you've got a lot of redstone, that's your guy. The high temperature one, this one's a little bit interesting because it's another coal-powered one, but it burns super fast. But if you give it a stack of items... See? You're getting a lot of power because it's producing 400, whereas this guy 40. So this guy, he'll take your fuel super fast, but he'll give you power super fast. This guy, lava generator. Feed him lava. Simple. Done. Next one, the nether star generator. This is the big game. Yeah, you give it a nether star. Whoop. Done. 40,000 RF for 2 minutes. Now, as you can see, it's got the little particle effects. Yeah, it gives you wither if you stand too close to it. But this is an insanely powerful generator. Insanely powerful. The pink generator. It likes pink. Anything pink. Give it pink dye. Done. It'll eat it. Well, what about yellow dye? Try and fool it? No, won't take it. Only takes pink. Now, of course, it produces minimal amounts of power. How about pink wool? That it'll take. Might even take it at a higher power level. Let's see. Yeah, 8. So, give it big pink stuff. It'll be happy. Solar generator? Done. It's solar. Come on. The only caveat with these guys, as it says here, is you need to apply a redstone signal to transmit the energy. So all of these guys, you can just take the energy. You stick a machine next to it, you stick a pipe next to it, which I'll explain later with transferring energy, and they'll transfer. These guys, you need to give them a redstone signal before they'll give up their power. So that's a little bit tricky for automated bases. But hey, there's daylight sensors. You can always say, oh, it's nighttime. Click. Charge the batteries off of the generators or something. I don't know. The potions generator. This is another interesting one. This guy will consume any potions you give it. But the thing is that if you give it something like a potion of regen versus, say, a potion of regen 2 versus, again, then, a splash potion of regeneration, it will give you different power. So that's 80 power for 40 seconds. Oh, and they also give you your empty water bottle back. Oh, they're supposed to burn for different amounts of time. Well, that's inaccurate because these burn them faster. But look at that, 128,000 power from that potion. That's pretty good. 128,000. And this one's still going. So yeah, like I said, if you want power over time, go for the small generators. Now this one, the survivalist generator, he's going to take your fuel really slowly. Oh, going to want more than that. We give this guy one piece of coal, he's going to run for 14 minutes. Well, 13 minutes and some seconds, I guess, is more accurate. But even at the highest level, the 64 time, it still runs for 12 seconds. This guy, bump, done. Didn't even see it. 5,000 power. This guy, couple of seconds. 20,000 power. This guy, yeah, 80,000. So, you know, if you're patient, that's pretty good. A single piece of coal, 5,000, 20,000, 80,000. So it's a good furnace, but it takes time. And it's cheap. So the other factor then is the cost of crafting these guys. Now, to do any of the 8 times, you need 8 of the generator you're talking about and the transfer node energy. Now that's QED recipe, it requires the transfer nodes gold and these breadth first search upgrades, which is a whole bunch of redstone and other upgrades. And NEI can tell you all about that. The 64 time generators, again, 8 of this 8 times, and the hyper energy transfer node, which requires bedrockium and 4 transfer nodes in a QED. So all of those are the same, they just take 8 and 8 of their previous form. So the TNT generator, it's not so bad. You're going to have to kill a couple of creepers to get the initial TNT. But hey, if you're going to be feeding this thing TNT, you've probably got a gunpowder farm anyway. Culinary generator, super cheap. You can get into this really easily. It's just iron, furnace, redstone, and the survivalist generator. And the survivalist generator is this, is cobblestone, piston, iron, furnace. This is super simple stuff. So the ender generator, you know, ender pearls, eye of enders, you're going to need an enderman farm to run this anyway, so that's not a problem. This guy, super easy. And really, you know, they're not too bad. The heated redstone one, we're taking a lava gen plus blocks of redstone, and the lava gen's just some gold and a block of iron. High temperature, we're just taking a furnace and amplifying it, giving it some iron. The nether star one, this is where the expense comes in. Not only do you need a nether star to craft it, you need a block of unstable ingots and 4 wither skulls. But by the time you're spending nether stars to make power, wither skulls are going to be an easy thing for you. And I would assume unstable ingots are as well. Pink generator, give it some pink. It wants the wool. And a survivalist generator, no problem. Solar, block a diamond. Depending on what pack you're playing in, that's expensive. Here in the Xisuminati mod pack, of which this is a showcase for, it's not too hard to come by, but that's still a bit of a price. Especially when you're thinking of all the way up to the 64 time generator. Sure, it's making you good amounts of power, but the whole, you know, having to apply redstone signal thing, that's 64 blocks of diamonds just to get power that you've got a hassle to deal with, when you can go with something a little simpler. The potion generator, it's not so much fun with the enchanting table, but that's okay. I mean, other than that, I mean, obsidian, that's easy to get. I mean, it's not like the enchanting table's hard to get, but diamonds, they're still seen as the thing to hoard. So, they're not too bad. These range from beginning to end game, they're well balanced. They're a good choice, no matter how far into the game you are. You might just need more of them. You're never going to run all your stuff off of one generator. You're always going to be adding more and more and more and more. So once you really get to, you know, 8 of these guys, consider compressing them into their 8-time form. It saves on a block, and you're going to be consuming the same amount of power. However, if you're not consistently using it, don't upgrade it. Say, for instance, the lava generator here. If we give it a bucket of lava, which we did for the test, it will produce 40,000 power. Great! That's marvelous. You can run a lot off of 40,000 RF. Well, if we give a bucket of lava to the 64 time generator, boom, see? 40,000 power. Same thing, just heck of a lot faster. And that's more what it is. You're not going to get more bang for your bucket because all you're doing is compressing the same generator 64 times. And, you know, if you laid out 64 of these one-time guys, if you went, you know, and gave it a single bucket of lava between all of them, you'd get the same amount of power as one generator would. You'd just get it 64 times faster. So that's pretty cool. But the problem comes when you pull too little power out of these. Because as soon as this buffer loses any amount of power, so if it's full all the way up to its 6,400,000 RF, and you pull 20 RF, you pull anything, it will consume an entire bucket of lava to refill it. And that's fine. But that's a lot of wasted power. Because it's going to try and produce the full 40,000. Now, yes, the same applies to the rest of these, but they burn at a slower rate, which allows you to spend the energy before it's actually made, so that there's room to make it, if you understand that. Like, if I'm drawing out 1,000 RF a tick, then this thing will keep up, because it's only making 40 a tick. So I'll actually lose power from that. But if I'm pulling 1,000, well, we can't even see it. We can barely see that. Give it a whole bunch. See, 2,560 every 2 seconds. So, you know, you're losing out on that power. So you got to find the ratio that works for you. And what kind of fuel source is renewable? I mean, solar is obviously the ultimate renewable. But due to its redstone power thing, it's a little bit annoying. Lava, pretty renewable. Ender pearls, they're renewable. Culinary, you know, food, infinite food. Have a cow farm, done. Furnace generators, you know, they all run off of renewable resources. It's how accessible is it to you? Anyway, moving on from extra utilities, we move into the other mods in this pack and their power sources. Over here we have solar flux. Now, that's all the mod does, is solar panels, and it's got 6 levels starting at level 1 to level 6. So exciting. They're pretty straightforward. It's just some wood, some redstone, and a mirror. And the mirror is iron and 3 glass. Tin is also a substitute, as is aluminium. Or aluminum, however you want to pronounce it. I'm pretty sure aluminium is the proper way. The level 2 then, it's just level 1s with a redstone reception coil. Level 3 and above is where it gets a little trickier, because now you're requiring the previous level plus some thermal expansion stuff, plus these photovoltaic cells, which are the mirrors adjusted or modified with certain things, like lapis. This one is clay. This one is actually infused with energized glowstone. And this one, I believe, is blaze rod, yes. So they do get more and more complicated, but these guys, they produce a heck of a lot of power. Like this solar generator, they're perfect. They're infinitely renewable, no need for fuel sources. Of course, they only run during the day, but the better part of these guys is they don't require a redstone signal to output. They just give you the power. You connect a machine or a cable and you're good. They also have upgrade slots where you can increase their capacity right here, their efficiency, which affects how much they generate per tick, and stuff like that. So those are pretty cool. They're pretty expensive and definitely a rabbit hole craft, just because in order to get a single level 6, you need something like 12 or 1024 level 1s, something like that. So that's a bit crazy. Over here we have thermal expansions generators. They're dynamos. Now these guys come in a variety of flavors. They look pretty cool, and they run off of different materials. The first one here, the steam dynamo, he runs off of water and solid fuel. Now this can be charcoal, coal, or blocks of coal in this mod pack. Obviously charcoal is the weakest, block of coal is the strongest, and they will produce steam. And once the steam is halfway up or higher, it will generate RF. Now it's pretty easy to get the steam halfway up. A single piece of coal and some water and you're peachy, you're cruising, you're making power. The magmatic dynamo, he's really simple. He just wants lava, he's done, he'll make power, peachy. Actually, I guess I should show recipes as I'm going along. So the steam dynamo, really, really cheap. This is early game stuff. This is copper, iron, and I think here it requires a silver and some redstone. So that's pretty cheap. This guy, he's all about the Invar. A little bit of silver in that one, but this is all Invar. Invar is an alloy of ferrous and iron. So not too hard to get. Now the compression dynamo, this one's, it took me a little bit to understand this one. It's kind of squishing two liquids together, I guess. I don't know what it's doing. It doesn't actually squish them together. It requires water in one end and another type of fuel in the other, and it works in this mod pack with biofuel from Mine Factory Reloaded and liquefacted coal from Thermal Foundation. And, you know, good, best. So if you can get liquefacted coal, that's the best. Stick them in there, it produces power. Pretty cool. Now the reactant dynamo, this one, it seems a little arbitrary with what it's doing. What it uses is a reactant and a fuel source. So it's a liquid fuel and a solid reactant, and it creates power. So in this case, you can use something like energized glowstone and a nether star, and it will produce power. So ranging from worst to best, you can use sugar, gunpowder, blaze powder, gas tier, or nether star, combined with sludge, sewage, essence, destabilized redstone, or energized glowstone. Any of these, any of those, doesn't matter which one you use as long as you use one of each of these. Obviously the best combination is glowstone and nether stars, but really who has that? I mean, you can easily get sewage and sugar in spades, and you're running wild with power. Sewage doesn't require any power to create, and sugar, you just harvest sugar cane. It's not too hard. Now this guy, the enervation dynamo, he's a little bit of a tricky one. I'm not sure if I completely understand it myself. I tried various objects in it. It says that it will extract flux from various objects. Now, again, it's a simple recipe. It's electrum, it's gold and silver alloy. I guess I actually forgot to show this guy. It's bronze. Ooh, bronze. Did I show this one? Ah, tin. So challenging. This guy's supposed to pull power from other objects. And it can be useful, but really all I found was the energy cells. And it just seems a little silly to me to pull power out of a battery so that you can power things. Like, how did you get the power into the battery in the first place? So I'm not sure if I would really spend my time doing that, unless of course I missed something completely obvious. But yeah. Moving on from thermal expansion, we've got quantum flux. They've only got 2 power generators. It's pretty simple. First off, we've got this quantum entropy accelerator. He's a pretty snifty one. A little bit of a crafting rabbit hole. Well, I guess actually this one isn't that bad, but quantum flux tends to be a crafting rabbit hole. It requires steel, which is attainable through tinkers or quantum flux. If we're going in the mod, quantum flux, really easy. Iron, coal, done. And these iron casings, which is iron and lapis. So that's not too complicated. Lava bucket furnace, you've got yourself this guy. Well, what he'll do is it burns objects. I mean, you give it a stack of stone, it'll burn it. It makes power. You can hook it up to a cobblestone generator, and it will just produce power by burning cobblestone. And I'm pretty sure it basically makes 20 redstone no matter what it consumes. Or 20 redstone, 20 RF. Oh, no. 60? I think it makes 60. So it's pretty useful. This guy right here, the 0-point extractor, this one's a bit more of a rabbit hole of crafting. We've again got these steel ingots, but now we've got these quibit clusters. And those guys, okay, diamonds, quartz, redstone, not too hard. We've got the ZBQ7, which is a block of diamond, ouch. You know, redstone, gold, lapis. The amplification crystals, which is this dark stone, diamond, and quartz. The dark stone is just smooth stone, cobblestone, and black dye. And then the quibit cluster level 2, which is just 4 level 1s, and the amplification crystals, and the level 1s are all these things. It's all listed in NEI. It's really not too hard to craft, but the problem is that it creates power dependent on altitude. And the closer it is to bedrock, the more power it generates. Now, this is good, but at the same time, it produces a wither sickness if you're close to it, if that setting is turned on. It also only has an internal buffer of 150 RF, so if you're not pulling that power out, it's just going to sit there not making you any power. But you can set up a nice large array of these all over bedrock. You'll be pretty satisfied with the power outputs. So that right there pretty much sums up power generation in the Xisuminati mod pack. There's not too many options, but some of them are really powerful, and they're not too hard to get into. Next on the list, we've got power distribution. Now, because of the limited amount of mods in this pack, we're pretty sparse in how the power can move around. We've basically got only 2 mods with pipes. We have Mine Factory Reloaded with their RedNet energy cable, which is pretty simply crafted. It requires these RedNet cables, gold, and a block of redstone. The reason it's cycling is because of you can dye redstone. There it goes. The RedNet cable is plastic and redstone. So these guys are pretty good. They'll transfer power. That's what they do. They transfer power. Yay, done. It's really that simple. That's all they're for, is power cables. They do have this weird thing where they like try and hook onto everything. And you can get rid of that with a wrench, but I still think it's a little weird that it tries to latch onto everything. Extra Utilities then has a couple of options. They are, however, unique in how they work. First off, we have the transfer node energy. This guy is kind of the heart of energy transfer, and without it, Extra Utilities isn't going to help you much. Now, we showed how to craft this thing earlier when we were looking at the 8-time and 64-time generators, but we can do it again. It's right there. Done. The hyper energy node, basically, it can store more power. It has a 1,000,000 RF capacity instead of 10,000. So, yeah, it can transfer more power faster. The two types of cables, I shouldn't say two types. There are two types of cables, but they have different uses. The energy pipe will send power from an energy node to a machine. The energy extraction pipe will pull power from a generator and put it into a transfer node. It will not pull power and put it into a machine. It has to put it into a transfer node. As we have set up here, transfer node, energy pipe, machine, or transfer node, machine. That transfer node is required. Now, the fun thing and the great thing about these energy pipes is that they're like every other pipe in Extra Utilities. So if I've got myself a machine, if we grab a copy right here and we just set up a little example, and I've got my furnace, I want to smelt me some food, I can sit here and go, okay, well, here's my crazy sneaky pipe, and boom, here's my power source. Well, that'll work, so long as there's power being input there. So if we grab ourselves a super duper crazy solar panel, he will, boop, fill up with energy, and boom, this thing is filling up with energy. Cool. That's pretty simple. Well, that's using just the energy pipe. What happens if, say, we're playing around with Extra Utilities, and we've got a transfer node here, and we've got some fancy blocks to make it look all pretty. But I need this guy to pull up my finished product, but how do I get power in? Well, the marvelous thing is those pipes will connect, and even through a node, even through this transfer node, you'll get power. So all of these things, item retrieval nodes and liquid transfer nodes, every single type of pipe that Extra Utilities has, they will all transfer power. You don't need to use this red energy pipe. The red energy pipe is more that if I've got something going and I'm saying, I'm going to move my items here and I'm going to have a chest right there, you don't want to necessarily have these lines going to your generator, because then it's going to try and move the items down there and it's going to hit a dead end and it's going to just waste time. So you use the red cable and say, don't even bother going down there, just head down here to the chest. So if you've got a line that is exclusively power, use the energy pipe, it's quicker. Now, from those guys, we then jump into wireless power transferring. Now there's 3 different mods that can do this. We've got quantum flux, Extra Utilities, and thermal expansion. Now, quantum flux has this guy, the RF entangler. He is key. You must have the RF entangler. It's another crafting rabbit hole. It's got a level 3 Quibbit cell. It's got this Mang alloy. It's not too hard. It's just steel and redstone. The ZBQ7 thing with its block of diamond requirement. But this guy, you connect him to an energy pipe, and it will send power into the ether. It entangles it. Well, this guy, the RF exciter, a pretty cheap crafting recipe. will be able to pull it out. And it can be upgraded with the... Oop. Oh, it's not good. That didn't work at all. With this guy, the Exciter. And then, again, a really cheap recipe. Crystallized redstone. You just smelt some redstone down. It can also then be used with the Quibbit cell. The Quibbit cell. He's pretty easy. It's a level 1, thankfully. Some exciters, some amplification crystals. This is actually a battery for your inventory. It'll pull power from the RF entangler and charge stuff in your inventory. So if you've got batteries or something like the eviscerator here that needs power, it'll charge it. It's the only inventory charger in game. So, well, in this mod pack. Moving on then, we have the Ender receiver and transmitter from Xutilities. Now these guys, you've got to name them in an anvil. You can set them to public or private by holding shift and right clicking. So in public, if you name this to say, you know, Tesgree's Energy, and slap it in this guy, well then I can go along and get another one and slap the receiver in there, and it will wirelessly send the power between the two. But because it's still on the public spectrum, anybody who guesses or knows that it's called Tesgree's Energy will be able to tap into that energy. So shift right click, set it to private. It's all good. Next, we have Thermal Expansion's Tesseract. Now this guy's fun. He is very versatile. You can type in a channel number, set frequency. You can give it a name. Save that frequency. So if I then wanted to, I could say, now I've got two. So now I've got Tesgree's Water at 31 and Tesgree's at 354. And you can set which one is active by just saying set frequency. From there we can say whether we want to receive items, send and receive items, no items at all, liquids, etc. But we also have our energy: receive, send only, blocked. In this case, yeah, send, receive. Yay, send and receive power. So we can easily set up a power frequency and say send power. You attach a pipe, you attach an energy node to this guy. It'll send power to any and all tesseracts that match that frequency. Now this also does have a way to make it private. You need the Signalum security lock, and it will make it that you can set it to owner only, which means other people wouldn't be able to come in and steal your power if they guess your frequency number. So that's pretty much energy transferring in this pack. There's really not that much to it. Most times you're going to be stuck with these guys and these guys, because the best, cheapest, quickest wireless and the quickest and cheapest and most versatile when compared to just, you know, here's your cable, can't connect it to anything. We're already going to be using all of these things for moving items and liquids around. May as well send our power through the same line. These guys, they're handy, but unless you're also really going to be sending liquids and items wirelessly, crafting these guys can be a bit of a pain, especially early game. Mind you, I mean, you're not going to be worrying about wireless energy early game anyway, but they're useful, but yeah. I would suggest going with the RF entangler. Now, for power storage, really simple. We've got the energy cells from Thermal Expansion and the Quibbit clusters from Quantum Flux. That's it. That's all. Block for block storage, Quibbit clusters win. Top level energy cell from thermal expansion, we're talking 80 million power. Top level from quantum flux, 312 million. I think these guys win. However, they are, again, that whole rabbit level crafting. But then, so are these guys. So over here, I've got a couple examples of how to set things up. It's really not too difficult. It's power moving. You can have a tesseract onto a furnace. You can have the pipe coming off the tesseract into the furnace. As I showed earlier, the energy node into furnace or into pipe into furnace. And here we've just got an entangler slapped on top of the furnace. Those would all work to transfer power. You just have to make sure that you've got a generator hooked up to them, or a generator hooked up to the RF entangler to power the exciter. Now, I realize this has been a lot of information. Hopefully I didn't go too far over people's heads. Hopefully I taught you something. If I need to slow down, let me know. I've never done something like this before. I just figured, you know what? I know these mods. We're getting a whole bunch of people, starting to play this mod pack, and they might not know what they're doing when it comes to power. So, I figured I'd try and help out. If you have any questions, let me know. Give me a comment. Send me a message. Go, hey Tedgree, what the heck are you doing? How do you do this? How do you figure this out? I will try and help. Other than that, you can do me a favor. You can leave this video a like. Or even just, a comment of, hi, how you doing? I take those too. Give it a share. Show someone who's playing this Xisuminati mod pack and going, what do I do for power? Well, here you go. Hopefully it was a good explanation for a video. And the most important thing, as I say every time, make sure to come back for next time. And definitely check out the Xisuminati Let's Play and Mod Sauce Let's Play. Woo, Mod Sauce. So, yes. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.